Happy New Year. Everyone, Happy New Year to you, to your animals. I pray and hope and invocate that that 2018 is a fantastic year for you and your animals. So I really do. I hope that it brings you health, it brings you joy, it brings you wonderful, good times with your animals. I hope 2018 is fantastic for you. My name is Coriel Kramer, and this is the Animal Experience. This is TAE, shortener version of the Animal Experience, is the wisdoms, the insights, the thoughts, the messages, the experiences that the animals have told me over the years of how they view us, how they view the world, how they view things like caretaking and euthanasia, how they view and see spirits, how they see themselves, how they see everything. So it's my wisdom I'm sharing with you that I've learned over the years that I know for me personally has profoundly changed my life. So I just wanted to give you a little idea of what the Animal Experience is all about. So this is, and we've been going for 20 episodes. Today is the 20th episode. It still blows my mind. And people seem to be really loving this. And I am thrilled to be able to bring it to you. I'm thrilled to be able to be a part of this. I'm thrilled that I was given the message to do this because I'm having a ball. I don't know about you, but I'm having a ball. So I hope you're having a ball. And from the feedback that I've been getting, people are really enjoying this, and it's really helping them and healing them and giving them positivity and giving them insights that they've never had before. So I am super, super thrilled, as I said. So today is episode 20. What we're going to be talking about today is an interesting little topic. And that is simply, do animals lie? Do they lie? Are they, and if they do lie, what's the extent of their lying? How far do we have to go? Are we living with little liars that like to lie a lot? Are we living with our own little furry politicians? Again, I don't go into politics, but I'm just saying politics, no matter what side you're on, is interesting. Okay? Nobody tells the truth in politics, and anybody who thinks that they do needs to seek medication. So, again, what is the extent of lying? What do they do, and what does it mean? So, the first thing that I want to start off, this topic came up for me a long time ago when I first reconnected with my animal communication by taking an animal communication class at a place in upstate New York called Spring Farm. And I've talked about Spring Farm before, and they no longer do animal communication. At least they didn't when I looked a few years ago. But you should definitely check them out and support them because it's an amazing animal sanctuary. And it's Spring Farm. The last time I looked, the website was springfarmcares.org. So you should look them up. Dawn Heyman is the person who was teaching the class. And my first experience about lying was talking to a horse named Hazel. Now, Dawn had given me given us a heads up ahead of time. She said, Hazel, sometimes, not always, but sometimes she kind of tells fibs about where she came from and from her past. And when Dawn asked her why, Hazel said, because I'm bored. I keep getting the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. And I just wanted to add a little something to it to spice it up a little bit. I found that really, really interesting. So it turns out that Hazel didn't lie to me. I just asked her what, how she sees the world. I didn't ask her about her past. And she appreciated that. So she kind of like gave me those insights, and I found that really, really interesting. But Hazel did, let's call it a fib. She fibbed to a couple of people about where she came from, and, because they went in asking the same questions that she's been answering for the last 10 years. And she's like, let's let's get some other questions going here. So she admonished. I wouldn't call it a lie. I call it a little fib, a little admonishment. But that was the first time that I was ever like, because I really always thought, well, they're animals. They're awesome. And at the time, I also had animals at a pedestal. I had us here and I had animals here. And, of course, now I'm changed on that, in that we're balanced. But in the beginning, when I first connected, I was like, animals, I thought animals were like the best thing ever. And they are, but, I've talked about this in other episodes, but it's interesting. So I thought animals lie. They lie. I was stunned by that. Okay. I would have been less stunned if somebody said, a horse once walked on the moon. I would have been like, yeah, that I can believe. I got it. I get it. I believe it. Anyway, so that was my first thing with animals and bringing this topic up. So, I looked up the definition of lie. And so I looked it up under dictionary.com. So I looked it up under dictionary.com. And dictionary.com defines a lie as a false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive. So an unintentional truth or falsehood. Now, I discussed before in episode 6 that in that episode, animals do reason. It was about reason or instinct. Are animals only instinctual, or can they reason stuff out? So a lie is not instinct. A lie is reasoning. Now, what you need to do is you need to reason out how you're going to say it. You're going to reason out what you're going to say, how exactly you're going to word it, and if it sounds plausible to you. So you got to use your brain to figure this out. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to lie and wing it. And even winging it, you got to think. So that involves reasoning. So if animals can reason, do animals lie? My opinion is yes, but there's a but with it. Unlike humans, animals don't do it to make themselves look better or look good or because they feel like it. It's like episode 17, 3 episodes, sorry, after this one, talks about how the animals do unwanted behaviors and the why is behind them. So they're not just doing it just for poops and giggles. They're doing it because they want to make sure that they're doing the unwanted behaviors for a reason. They're not doing it because they're cruel like humans are. They're not doing it because they want to try to get ahead in the world. They're not. The lies that they say are not deviously planned. And it's not, I have yet to meet one animal who is a constant liar with every single thing that they say. Every single thing out of their mouth is a lie. Now, I've met some people who almost every single thing out of their mouth is a lie. So that is a little different. So there's more, many times it's almost like there's like a sense of innocence with their lying. So they're not malicious unless they're provoked through things like, through things like abuse or feeling threatened, or in some ways or some instance, for instance, wild animals being hunted for survival. They're going to be devious in trying to evade being killed, but they're not lying other than that. It's so in abuse situations, it might be that they're being told to do something, not to do something. But see, abuse situations are a very powerless feeling situation. So that animal might want to try to like take their power back in some way, shape, or form by being told not to do something but doing it anyway. It's kind of like their rebellion. And yeah, they understand that they'll probably get hurt or beat because of it, but at least they're trying to take their power back in some way, shape, or form. So that's another when an animal lies, or do animals lie. So animals are very tied and very tuned into what I call Christ-like consciousness. So an animal's natural state is to be honest. Their natural state is to be honest with us and the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're open. I have talked to a lot of wild animals who, when I got too close to something, do you have offspring, and where your offspring are, they would shut down because that they're trying to protect themselves. They're trying to protect their loved ones. So they're open to a certain extent, but they're not 7-Eleven. They're not open 24/7. They're not open to the world. They have a protective feeling because they're reasoning out what's safe to say and what's safe not to say. So the next thing I want to talk about is, when do animals lie? What is the situation that occurs that makes them lie? So sometimes the animals that I've talked to, sometimes it's a cause and effect reason. They did something and this was the result, and they're like, oh God, I don't really want to tell the truth about this. So sometimes it's a cause and effect situation. So AKA sometimes, the dog breaks the vase and they're responsible, or they're going after somebody in the house and they're like, no, it wasn't me. Yeah, I didn't do it. Or they're acting like punks in the house. I didn't do it. Punk behavior is, acting like a punk, acting like a gangster, So anyway, sometimes, now here's an interesting thing. So sometimes they go, okay. The reason that they do the cause and effect thing is because they're kind of like angry. Oh, mom's going to get angry at me. I better lie. So sometimes they lie because they want to protect another in the house who they feel they're responsible for. Now, this is usually with the alphas or the betas. The alphas are, of course, we know, the top. Their betas are the second in command. So they feel the need to protect. Their need to protect is very high. Their need to protect is very strong. So maybe they'll take the punishment. They'll take the brunt of the punishment no matter what, because they don't want the other ones who are under them, or they deem less stronger than them, to take the punishment, which I think is very noble, but that's me. They don't go around telling lies and all the time. It's more, when the need calls for it. I like I said before, I have not met a lot of animals. I haven't met one animal who's a constant liar about everything. even the most abused ones are open to a certain extent. And it's not so much they lie as they kind of like just close off or close up. So why do animals lie? Well, I've already talked about one thing with Hazel the horse. She was bored, as in my story. So Hazel was bored, but to me, this is more fibbing and less lying, more admonishment, because she is still telling the truth. She's just putting a little bit more of an exciting spin on it, So protect themselves or to protect someone that they care about. Now, this is interesting. Sometimes I've come across an animal lying as entertainment. And they're doing it because they know that something they do, although can be a little trying to you, and a little exasperating, can make us laugh. So they say that, okay, I won't do it again, but it made her laugh. So I won't do it as often, but I'll still do it. Keep her laughing, keep her smiling, keep me going on Facebook because it's cute. Yeah, they know about Facebook. They don't know the ins and outs of it, but they know what you're doing with it. So, the next reason why is, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. The next reason why is if they don't trust their person. Either they come from a situation that keeping the truth was required as an abusive situation or neglectful situation, or they're lashing out in anger about being abandoned. Now, I want to tell you a little story. I found this really interesting. One of my first ever clients when I connected in animal communication was a cat. And I'll call her Fifi for right now to protect her anonymity. So Fifi was doing unwanted behavior. And her person called me. She was biting her, which was getting really out of control. And a cat's bite is no joke. So she would tell me, when I connected to her, I did a session with her, and she told me, I promise I'll stop. And I heard that, and I was like, okay. I would just tell her. I would just say to her, Fifi, your person would really appreciate it. She wants to love you, and she wants to care about you, but please stop this behavior because it's counterproductive. Okay, I'll promise. I won't do the behavior anymore. Then a day later, I would get an email. Fifi bit me. I could connect to Fifi. Fifi would tell me, okay, I won't do it anymore. Promise. Okay, next day, another email. Now, this went on for days. And it was really frustrating because for me, I started to, question my abilities as an animal communicator. I was like, I'm not getting through to this cat. And maybe I shouldn't be doing this because maybe I'm just not good at it. It was very, very early on when I first connected professionally. So she would tell me I won't do it. Found out she would do it. So one day, what I did was a few days afterwards, I got the thought, ask her why she's doing it. Don't tell her not to do it. Ask her why she's doing it. So I asked her why. And I found out that, after a little bit, that she was actually lashing out. She was lashing out at her old person through her new person because she was abandoned and she was upset she was abandoned. And also she thought, well, I'm probably going to be given up anyway. So why don't I just cut to the chase and take my power back in this situation and be the cause of it, because I wasn't the cause of it before when I was abandoned. I was just given up. So now I'm going to be the cause of it. I'm going to take my power back and I'm going to say this, if I'm going to go, it's going to be under something I did, not under something I didn't do. I found that extremely interesting. And that also set me up that changed my life as an animal communicator. From that one communication, I got that, the whys are important. You have to ask the whys first. Don't just go for the jugular and say, don't do this, Fido. Don't do this, Fifi. Find out the why behind the doing of the action, because there's always a why. So it was because of Fifi, whose name I will not divulge, she was the why behind, she was the start of the whole thing for me. So, animals do lie, but their intent and reasoning behind those lies are nowhere near, okay, as intense as humans, okay? And the reasoning behind it, and the reasoning why, and the justifications behind why we do lies, not all of us, just not all of us here. But there's with them, there's an innocence about it. And as I said before, there's always a why behind their behavior. So that's my little take on episode 20, Do Animals Lie? That's what I have learned. And thank you very much for joining, Victoria. I appreciate it. I'm having some interesting stuff going on visually. My connection is telling me it goes from HD to un-HD, so I don't know what's happening to the video. I don't know if people are able to come on to the video, because I'm not seeing anybody's comments or questions like I usually do. So what I will be doing is, if anybody has a comment or a question, please post it in the video that will be posted to my page later on, and I will answer the question later. I want to thank everybody for joining. Victoria, thank you for joining. Carrie Ann, wonderful. Thank you for joining, my dear. Miss you. And if anybody has any questions for me, I really just let me know. I'm here to answer as many questions as I possibly can. I want to thank you all for joining the Animal Experience. Next week is episode 21. Now, I'm not quite sure which one that one is going to be, so it's going to be a little bit of a surprise. I have a list of episodes, and that one, I'm just not sure where I'm going to put it after this one, what one comes after this one. So I'll let you know. I'm still always looking for questions or ideas for the Animal Experience. So if you got some, let me know. Either PM me through Facebook, put it in a comment here. I'm always looking for episodes. I'm pretty much good until I think May now, but still I can always use them, and doesn't necessarily mean I put them in that order. So I could use yours ahead of time, and it's always appreciated. So Sherry, Dozy will be here tomorrow. Oh, yay. Victoria, bad storm on the East Coast. That could be it. That could absolutely be it. So, I get it. My peeps on the East Coast, and I got a lot of them. They're having a little bit of a hard time, but, I appreciate everybody who was able to join here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope this answers the questions for you. So don't forget, I make the TAE available on Google Play and iTunes as podcasts, also on YouTube, and I will post those links there. And Facebook, it has its own Facebook page under the Animal Experience Show. So if anybody wants a reading or a session with me, please go to my website. Real simple, my name. I try to make it stupid simple. So it's www.corielkramer.com. And I can be found, of course, on Facebook under Coriel Kramer. And Carrie Ann says, yes, it's snowing there as well. Carrie Ann asks, question. Carrie Ann asks, how do animals feel about being spayed or neutered? Great idea. Love it. I need help. Okay. I need help with this stuff, because sometimes it's like, I I'm trying to get all this information, but I've been doing this for 23 years. So, it gets a little bit, I forget what I know. And I know that's an awesome idea for an episode. I'm putting that on the list, Carrie Ann. I'm going to give you props for that too. That's awesome. Fantastic. Okay, we have a little bit of questions going on besides that one. Tracy says, my ginger boy likes to look at me and scratch my couch, even though I'm going to have words at him. I think he likes my reaction, and he also enjoys the other cats to get attention. I guess I must find out why. I guess so, but also it might be, like I said before, sometimes they get it because, okay, yes, it's a little trying, but number one, it gets our attention. Number two, maybe post it on Facebook. Number three, maybe it makes you smile just a little bit because he's acting so cute. I know scratching the furniture is not cute, but I'm just saying it's a cutesy kind of, kind of like action. So think about it. I'm just saying, and we can always do a session if you want. And yes, Victoria Kramer says, random question or possible live episode. Ooh, I'm enthralled. Does the deceased pet's soul remain? I'm going to read that again. Does the deceased pet's soul remain after it has undergone reincarnation? When our soul goes to meet them, are they there? That's covered in, did you see the second episode in reincarnation? Because that's covered in reincarnation. I'm pretty sure that's covered in reincarnation, so you might want to look back on that. But great idea, great question, wonderful question. I appreciate it. And if it's not covered, I'm pretty sure I covered it though. Does the deceased pet's soul remain after it has undergone reincarnation? Yes. And I go more into that in the second episode on reincarnation. Yes, it does remain. It stays. The soul is always the soul. The soul the body is what changes sometimes, if you don't believe in immortality like I do. So the soul goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. It's always the same soul. But the soul grows from the past lives, and that's another episode, on the past lives that it's lived. So it doesn't stay constant. It's constantly fluctuating and changing. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, awesome, Carrie Ann. Thank you very much for that idea. Really super cool. I love it. Love it. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So, again, for a session or a reading, you can go to my website, www.corielkramer.com. Next week is episode 21. I'm not sure which one that will be, although maybe I'm going to go into Carrie Ann's. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. Until then, I'm wishing you and your animals all the best for 2018. All the very best for 2018. Much, much love and a wealth of wonderful experiences in the coming year. And I'll see you guys next week.